Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, we dive into a moment that feels both fragile and fierce. This is the story of becoming, the story of how every small choice, every quiet victory, builds a fire inside that no storm can ever extinguish. Today, we begin to own that fire. There comes a moment, somewhere between the silence of night and the noise of morning, when you feel the weight of the day pressing against you before it even begins. That is the moment that decides everything, not the applause you might earn, not the rewards you might receive, but the quiet choice you make before anyone is watching. Choice to rise, the choice to stand, the choice to move forward despite the whisper in your mind that says, stay where it's safe. Confidence is not something you stumble upon by accident. It's not a lightning strike, not a gift handed down from the heavens. It is forged hour by hour, choice by choice, in the fires of discomfort and the discipline of showing up when no one calls your name. You do not wake up with unshakable belief. You build it. You build it by keeping the promises you make to yourself in the dark, when it would be easier to break them because no one would know. You build it by showing up for the work before the work shows result. You build it by turning toward the weight instead of looking for the escape every morning life will hand you. A question: will you live today as the person you've been or as the person you are becoming? The answer is written in your actions, not your intentions. The answer lives in whether you step forward or stand still. The truth is this: confidence is earned in the smallest, quietest moments, when the alarm rings and your body wants to sink back into the sheets, but you choose to stand when the run feels long and your lungs burn. But you choose to keep moving when the conversation feels uncomfortable. But you speak your truth anyway. Every single one of these moments is a deposit into the account of who you are, and the balance grows, not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. There will be days when you feel nothing is changing, when the work feels invisible, when your effort echoes in an empty room. That's when you must remember, the seed grows in the soil long before it breaks the surface. The work you do when no one is looking is the work that makes the breakthrough possible, but you have to claim it daily. You cannot store confidence for the winter like grain in a silo. You have to earn it every sunrise, and you earn it by aligning your actions with the person you say you want to be. Belief comes after the action, not before. You cannot wait to feel ready, because readiness is the reward of movement, not the prerequisite. You cannot wait to feel strong before you lift the weight. You cannot wait to feel worthy before you step into the arena. You step in shaking. You step in unsure, and somewhere between the first step and the last, the belief begins to grow, not because the world told you it could, but because you proved it to yourself. There will be fear. There will be doubt. But confidence is not the absence of those voices. It is the refusal to obey them. Fear will tell you to wait. Doubt will tell you you're not enough. Confidence is when you look them in the eye and say, maybe, but I'm still moving forward. You will not be perfect. You will stumble. You will fall. But here is the truth most people will never tell you. Confidence is not built by avoiding the fall. It is built by getting up from it each time you rise. You tell yourself a story. I am the kind of person who stands again. That story becomes the armor you wear into the next battle. The battles will change. Today it might be a small conversation you've been avoiding. Tomorrow it might be the dream you've been postponing for years. The scale does not matter. The principle is the same. Show up. Do the thing, win or lose. You collect the evidence that you are capable, and that evidence is the bedrock of confidence. Every rep in the gym of life counts, every time. You say no to the temptation that pulls you away from who you want to be. You get stronger every time you say yes to the hard thing that scares you. You get sharper, and every time you look back at a moment you thought would break you, only to realize you survived it. You get bolder. Confidence is not loud. It doesn't need to be. Real confidence is quiet because it is sure. It does not shout to convince anyone else. It speaks softly because it already knows. It moves without asking permission. It walks into the Tao room without needing to dominate it. You earn that kind of confidence daily by being willing to stand in the fire until the heat becomes home. Clarity is where confidence takes root. You cannot walk boldly toward a destination you haven't named. Most people drift, not because they lack ambition, but because their vision is a blur. They are walking through life as if staring through fog, waiting for something external to reveal the path. But clarity is not given, it is carved. It is the deliberate act of deciding who you want to be and where you want to go before the world tells you who it thinks you are. When you define your vision, you draw a line through the chaos. You tell the noise, this is not for me. This is you. Take ownership of your time, your energy, your direction. Without that ownership, you will be carried by the current. And the current does not care where you end up. So you must ask yourself the questions no one can answer for you. What matters enough to suffer for? What is worth waking up early for? What would you still fight for even if no one ever applauded? Because when the vision is clear, discipline becomes less about forcing yourself and more about aligning yourself. You stop asking, do I feel like it today? And start asking, does this serve the person I've committed to becoming? There will be days when clarity feels distant, when the path seems to fade in front of you. That is when you must remember vision is not a one-time decision. It is a daily recalibration. Every sunrise, you take the compass out of your pocket and turn it toward the life you said you wanted. And this is where belief begins to grow, not the hollow kind that needs constant validation, but the unshakable kind built on evidence. Belief is not a mood. It is proof stacked on proof. It is the recognition that yesterday you showed up, the day before you showed up, and today you are showing up again. You stop wondering if you are capable and start remembering that you have been capable all along. But clarity without action is only a dream, and action without discipline collapses the moment resistance arrives. Discipline is the bridge between vision and reality. Discipline is waking up for the run when the sky is still dark. Discipline is speaking up in the meeting when your throat is dry. Discipline is saying no to what is easy so you can say yes to what is necessary. It is not glamorous. Most days, it will be invisible to the outside world, but the weight of those invisible days will tip the scales of your life here. As the truth motivation will fade, it will abandon you when the work gets hard, when the novelty wears off, when the results take longer than you hoped. That is when discipline takes the wheel. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire you feed even when the wind howls against it, and there will be resistance. The moment you commit to a vision, the world will test it, not because the world is cruel, but because growth requires pressure. You cannot strengthen a muscle without weight. You cannot build a mind without challenge. When resistance comes, it will disguise itself as reasons why you can't start today, reasons why you should quit. reasons why you should settle for something smaller, safer. But you must remember, every reason is a fork in the road. One path takes you back to where you started. The other keeps you moving toward the life you said you wanted. You will not always feel ready. You will not always feel strong. But readiness is not a requirement for action. It is a result of it. Strength is not something you wait for. It is something you earn in the repetition. And as you walk this road, there is one thing that will transform every step. You must practice gratitude, not as a reaction to success, but as a way of seeing. Gratitude does not make you soft. It makes you steady. It reminds you that even in the struggle, there are reasons to keep going, that even in the work, there is beauty. Gratitude sharpens your focus. It pulls you out of the endless chase for more and plants you in the truth of what you already have: the tools, the lessons, the breath in your lungs, the chance to try again today. It is easy to forget this when you are in pursuit, but confidence is not built only in the victories. It is built in the awareness of where you already stand. The path ahead may be long, but you are already further than you think, and so you wake, you choose, you step forward, not because the world guarantees the outcome, but because you have decided who you are in the process. The storms will come, not the gentle rain you can walk through, but the kind that darkens the sky in an instant, that makes the air heavy and the ground uncertain beneath your feet. This is where most people turn back, not because they lack talent, but because they have confused confidence with comfort. Real confidence is not built in the easy seasons. It is forged in the times when nothing goes as planned, when your routine is shattered, when your progress is disrupted, when the map you were following is torn from your hands. Adaptability is the art of staying in motion when the path changes shape. It is refusing to anchor your identity to the conditions, and instead anchoring it to your commitment. The weather shifts, the terrain tilts, the timeline stretches, and still you move. This does not mean abandoning the vision. It means adjusting your method without betraying your mission. The mountain is still the mountain. If the trail is blocked, you find another route. If the bridge collapses, you swim. Adaptability is the refusal to believe that one closed door means the journey is over. And with adaptability comes resilience, the quiet, steady force that keeps you standing after the fall. Resilience is not the absence of breaking. It is the decision to rebuild yourself every time you do. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when the thing you are building slips through your fingers, when the voice in your mind whispers, "Maybe you aren't made for this." That is when resilience speaks louder, not with empty slogans, but with evidence. I have been here before. I got up before. I will get up again. Resilience is learned in the cycle of trial and recovery. Each time you rise, you take something with you: a pie, lesson, a scar, a deeper understanding of your own strength. And this is where confidence grows roots, so deep that no storm can rip them out. Because once you have walked through fire and kept moving, fear loses its grip. You stop asking, "What if I can't handle it?" and start telling yourself, "I will handle it." When it comes, learning becomes your weapon in this. Every setback, every failure, every misstep becomes a teacher. The question is not whether you will make mistakes, it is whether you will extract their lessons. Most people bury their failures and hope they are never seen again, but the ones who grow, the ones who keep moving forward, hold those failures to the light and study them until they reveal the truth. And here's the truth: you will find failure is not the opposite of success. It is the soil it grows from. Without it, The roots of your progress stay shallow without it. Your confidence is fragile, built only on the days that went well. When you see the pattern, when you notice that every storm has left you stronger in some way, gratitude starts to bloom even in the rain. You stop fearing the tests because you understand what they give you, and in that shift, you no longer just endure the storms, you welcome them as the training ground for the next level of who you are becoming. And then something changes. The world still throws you into uncertainty, but you stop flinching. You stop waiting for things to be perfect before you act. You start moving in imperfect conditions with the same conviction you had when everything felt clear, because by now, you understand the goal was never to control the wind. The goal was to become the kind of person who can adjust the sails no matter which way it blows. This is how confidence is earned, not by avoiding the storm, but by proving to yourself you can navigate through it, day after day, choice after choice, until one day, without even realizing it, you look at the reflection in the mirror and see someone you trust completely, not someone who never fears, not someone who never doubts, but someone who knows deep in their bones that they can face whatever comes next. And that is the kind of confidence no one can give you, and no one can take away. You awaken each morning not as a stranger to your own life, but as its architect, carrying the blueprints forged by every small victory and every moment. You refuse to surrender. Confidence is not a trophy collected after the race. It is the rhythm of your footsteps on the path itself. It is the heartbeat steadying in your chest. When the world demands you move forward anyway, you have learned that true confidence is born from the daily decision to rise, to stand, and to act despite the unseen battles raging inside. It whispers softly in your ear, "You are enough because you show up. You are capable because you persist." This journey is not about perfection. It is about courage. The courage to face the ties, the unknown, to embrace the discomfort, to fall and rise again with fierceness unshaken. Each scar you carry is not a mark of failure, but a medal of resilience earned in the heat of your fight. Look around. The world will never hand you certainty, nor guarantee the road will be smooth, but it does offer you one precious thing: the freedom to choose your response, to meet the chaos with grace, the fear with action, the doubt with belief. You stand now at the edge of possibility, where your vision meets your will, where your dreams demand your discipline, where your purpose calls you beyond your past limitations. This is where confidence is no longer a hope, but a fact, hard-earned and undeniable. So claim it. Own your power with humility and fire. Walk boldly into your days, knowing that every step you take, no matter how small, is proof that you are building a life not by chance, but by choice. Earn your confidence daily. It is your greatest act of rebellion against fear, your loudest declaration that you are here to become more than the world expects. Rise, stand, move forward. The life you want is waiting, and it begins now. Subscribe for more motivational content that fuels your growth and awakens your potential. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this today.